Never enough. When success becomes an addiction. Today I want to explore an idea that many of us experience in life, but may not even recognize as influencing and impacting our lives. The experience of never feeling like enough. We may have this experience despite achieving, progressing, growing, developing and succeeding in different areas. We may even feel this way when in fact we are more than enough. This presentation looks at what happens when success itself becomes an addiction. When achieving and achievement stop being fulfilling and start becoming compulsive. We'll explore this psychologically, socially and metaphysically. To begin with, I'd like to share some relevant parts of my background. I will then define what I mean by both success and addiction. From there, I'll look at different forms of addiction to success, some key statistics, the devastating impacts this can have, and finally exploring metaphysical aspects to success and addiction and holistic perspectives on healing and balance. My name is P.S Richardson. My formal and professional studies have included gaining qualifications in events, business, fitness and metaphysics. Areas of study I've also explored include earth sciences, tourism, biology, psychology, art and information management. These studies have been across institutions including Macquarie University, Swinburne University, the University of Tasmania, Torrens University, the University of Southern Queensland, Open University, and the University of Metaphysics. Whilst completing my studies, I've been published in the Journal of Metaphysical Thought several times and published several books on science and spirituality. I hold certifications in complementary therapies and am practicing sound healing, massage therapy, and I'm also a yoga teacher. My multiple disciplinary background will inform you that the lens I bring today is unique. It is one that integrates practical, psychological, and spiritual understandings of human activity, psychology, and behaviour. Success is generally defined externally. This includes financial, income, productivity, formal recognition, social status, or academic and professional achievements. Culturally, success is associated with worth, safety, and identity. We are taught, and it is ingrained, that more achievements equals more security, more value, more approval, and reward. Rarely are we encouraged to question whether these definitions are internally fulfilling, meaningful, purposeful, positive, encouraging of personal growth and development, or if they are long-term sustainable. Addiction is not simply about substance use or abuse. It is not just about participating in irresponsible behaviours. Addiction does not just affect your physical health either. Addiction psychologically and neurologically changes the individual. At its core, addiction involves compulsive behaviour, loss of control, and a continuation of behaviour despite negative consequences. Addictions and addictive behaviours are often a response to unmet needs, whether emotional, psychological, or existential. They are not a lack of discipline or morality. Addiction to success can show up in different forms. A few examples include workaholism, perfectionism, and fitness image addiction. The example of workaholism, being addicted to work-related success and achievements, is an addiction to career progression, including status, job title fixation, can be linked to financial gains and increases in income and financial rewards. Perfectionism involves chronic overachievement, continual progression with no real level of satisfaction of incremental achievements. Finding yourself gaining an achievement with little value or meaning to you and instantly moving on to the next goal. Fitness image addiction can also be called constant self-optimization. It is a fixation on health, muscle growth, body image, physical appearance, level of fitness, fitness achievements, and succeeding in strength-related goals. These behaviours are socially rewarded and can have many benefits and positive effects on people, which make them difficult to identify as potentially harmful. When the behaviour becomes no longer controllable, it becomes a problem. They often look like ambition, commitment, or dedication, until the cost becomes visible. Research shows that work addiction is widespread. Studies estimate that between 6 to 20% of workers display signs of work addiction, making it more prevalent than many recognised behavioural addictions. Around 1 in 5 people may be engaging in compulsive work behaviours driven by internal pressures to succeed. Importantly, work addiction is strongly linked to depression, anxiety, and poor sleep quality. This shows that success-driven behaviours can significantly undermine health. The prevalence of media content in the world today demanding people reach perfection or get physical physiques which are unhealthy but aesthetically pleasing is atrocious, degrading, generating unrealistic aspirations among youth and vulnerable populations. Health and sustainable levels of success, achievement, and growth differ greatly from the public displayed in media today. When success becomes addictive, the impacts extend beyond burnout and overwhelm. We see chronic stress, nervous system dysregulation, sleep disturbances, emotional disconnection, strained relationships, identity collapse during rest, and a deep sense of emptiness despite outward achievement. The individual keeps striving, not because it feels good, but because stopping feels unsafe. Societal expectations have grown and costs have risen, but financial compensation has not, placing greater strain on individuals to survive the economic crisis. Striving for success is a competitive survival mechanism. Once it begins to become harmful to the individual's health, it becomes an addiction that the individual is no longer in control of and needs to be addressed. When the individual is no longer finding meaning in achievements, lacking purpose, and continually aiming for unattainable perfectionism, this will negatively be impacting the individual's long-term health. From a metaphysical perspective, addiction is not failure. It is a signal. Addiction to anything is a signal that there are dysregulation, disconnection, and dissatisfaction. The craving isn't for achievement. It's for coherence, for meaning, for safety within oneself. Addiction to succeeding reflects a disconnection from inner truth and authentic identity. From the expectations placed upon us by society, to the conditioning of our upbringing, to the societal conditioning of the overlying competitive environments we try to thrive in, We are trained to chase success externally from a young age, and we are in a reward system that gives extrinsic recognition and praises those who succeed. Success then becomes something we chase externally to regulate what feels unstable internally. The behaviour of workaholism, perfectionism, striving for physical fitness image isn't the root problem. It is merely a coping strategy. Addictive patterns often emerge when the self becomes fragmented, when worth is attached to performance, validation, or productivity. External forms of recognition outside oneself from another source. We no longer regulate our sense of self-worth internally and individually, by ourselves, for ourselves. In this state, success temporarily soothes discomfort but never resolves it, creating a cycle of never enough. Overcoming this perspective is about remembrance, reconnection, wholeness, safety, and intrinsic worth. When inner alignment is restored, the compulsive drive for success softens, and achievement becomes a choice rather than a survival mechanism. Holistic approaches address addiction at multiple levels: the nervous system regulation, emotional processing, belief systems, identity, and meaning. Rather than removing behaviour alone, holistic work focuses on restoring balance, safety, and connection within the individual. Holistic supports include therapy, somatic practices, mindfulness, breathwork, movement practices, value clarification, and community connections. These approaches help the body feel safe enough to slow down and the self feel worthy without constant achievement. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to engage in this topic with me. My hope is that this conversation invites reflection, not judgment, and opens the space for redefining success in ways that support well-being, meaning, and wholeness. Never enough is not a personal flaw, it is a cultural and nervous system pattern, and patterns can be changed. Thank you.